All right, let's continue forward. I'm going to use my vintage Rider-Waite. Not as pretty as many of the other decks, but they're quite efficient in, able to be read. Hi, Mid-Lily. Hi, Mid-Lily Bum Bum. What you doing, girlfriend? What? What? You trying to come over here? Huh? Little girl? What you doing, little girl? Yeah, happy girl. Your happy meter's going? She's not quite as confident. You know, Mickey likes to get on my lap, and it's like she's wanting to sort of do that, but she's not as confident. She says, you're telling on me, Mama, you're telling on me. I know, it's not time yet, Miss Lily. She's trying to butter me up. I know what she wants. You know what she wants. But let's pick our cards and let's see what the reading's got to say today. Yesterday was kind of a gangbuster explosive one, wasn't it? But it was quite explicit, let's put it that way. It was very explicit in what it said yesterday. So let's go ahead. We're going to pick our 18 cards and then look at them again together and see if we can figure out what the tarot is saying today. Now we know, again, Trumpenstein, his birthday's coming up, and he wants this big military parade, and they asked him, well, it's Flag Day. It's not really for my birthday, it's for Flag Day. Now we know that when he went to overseas and he saw these big military parades, that he was salivating over it. We don't have money to feed the poor, but got money to put a big military parade on to feed his ego. Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, be that as it may, let's look and see what the reading has to say today. Miss Lily, you stay out of the trash, bad girl. So let's see what's driving the reading. It's about justice, the sword of truth. Okay. This is the one that doesn't play. Sword of truth. And rapidly about this new path. Okay? The concrete happenings about this path across the world. So, justice. The long arm of justice. Transformation. New transformations. Higher elements, okay? The higher elements. We've got the angel there. Okay, so let's see what the reading's about. Not liking the harvest, okay? The harvest. Feeling pushed to the edge. Absolutely feeling pushed to the edge when it comes to the harvest, and blocking information, okay? This unwillingness to see at a crossroads, okay? Unwillingness to see about the harvest or lack thereof that's coming in, and feeling stressed, pushed to the edge. And then underneath of the reading, again, we have the long arm of justice, rapidly moving when it comes to this path and how it's affecting the world, okay? So we kind of know where this reading is going. So the energy coming into it is, guess who? Guess who? The brilliant-minded one of darkness, okay, that's got people chained up because of his foolishness about the harvest. And people feeling stressed, pushed to the edge because of the things they're having to juggle. And the light on the fact that this fool doesn't listen to anything. He doesn't have the knowledge, okay? He blocks any kind of light coming in. He doesn't want to hear it. So what's happening today, it's about the things that are going on overseas, the action, looking for those ships to come in, but the ships are not coming in, okay? Why? Because of his stupidity, because of his dark element, and not liking the harvest, because he doesn't understand, when it comes to trade deficits, etc. So we have the strength of what's happening, of people feeling pushed to the edge, trying to juggle finances, and the light on what he's building, okay? The monetary reality of what's taking place and the things that his blockhead doesn't understand, okay? He thinks if it's a deficit that we're getting nothing out of it. Well, no, we bought goods. We bought these things, okay? So his stupidity. So the challenge is trying to figure out the next move when it comes to dealing with the world, when it comes to dealing with overseas. Okay? Trying to figure out something grounded, because this affects trade all across the world. And what action are you going to take? Because now everything is suspended. Okay? It's going nowhere fast. And people are suffering now. Again, feeling pushed to the edge, trying to juggle their finances with the strength of this. And so now we have the challenge is his theft, his mental drama he's still trying to get away with. Again, he thinks that they're stealing from us because he's an idiot, because he doesn't understand trade at all. So now this can also be the card of evaluation. All the things you're carrying, the things you're leaving behind. Looking backwards, is somebody going to look backwards now and see the consequences of the actions that's taking place? Okay? Because the foundation, he's blocked from the light, what's being built, and the takeaway. Okay? And he keeps looking backward and saying, well, they're stealing from us. They're stealing from us. Potential outcome. Yeah, his insanity. Okay, dealing with his mental delusions when it comes to the harvest, not liking the harvest, his dark ideas about it, where he moved forward and trade, and things are not coming now, and now trying to figure out, looking at what's going on overseas. But unfortunately, we have this guy that's got no clue as to what's really going on. Okay, so we come up to the long-term happenings with it. People feeling stressed, trying to juggle this stuff, the strength of this being overturned, and how it's going to affect the long term. And of course, then we have the burden. We're the ones dealing with this. The burden of his not understanding what's being built, his lies about the theft, and the burden that's going on with it. Extra information. We have this strong truth. It could also be his trying to wield this sword of being the authoritarian, okay, when it comes to transformation. When it comes to, having all the things you want, okay, having this prosperity, but the strong arm of truth, when it comes to prosperity, they're all facing losses. The wealthy are facing losses now. They're bemoaning the fact of this, and they are coming in with this sword as well, talking about their income and the losses they are facing. Okay, like I said, when the wealthy come up with this reality check about the losses, this is not boding well for Trumpenstein. Okay, the strong truth about the transformation when it comes to our finances, and we are facing losses. So we look at the reading, the four corners. We have not liking the harvest, his insanity when it comes to the burden of this, and his not listening. Okay? In the center of it, the strength of it. The strength of what's been built when it comes to waiting for these ships to come in, and they are not coming. And his dark mentality, strong dark mentality when it comes to the theft. We're being stolen from. It's what he keeps saying. And it's in his dark mental realm, has no light of truth. So now they're trying to strengthen, trying to figure out the next move, shed some light on it. And they're juggling this stuff when it's, again, being, suspended. So when it comes to trying to juggle the assets, they're feeling, again, pushed back to the edge, the strength of being pushed back to the edge, not liking the harvest that's being built, looking at the light on his dark actions and seeing that he just absolutely will not take in any kind of rational information when it comes to what's taking place with trade coming in, with everything being blocked. So when it comes to what's being suspended, they're looking at the strength of this for the long term, trying to figure out the next action when it comes to his ideas about the deficit, trying to figure out rationally what's going on, and looking at the burden of nothing coming in, none of these ships coming in, and his ongoing thing he's trying to build from his insanity. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and do the clarification read and see what it says. But it says, he does not have the mental acuity. He will not listen to anybody. He doesn't understand trade, okay? And he's in his delusion and his dark mindset. And these people are trying to give him the harsh light of truth, that if it affects them, and they're the ones that have been supporting him, the wealthy, then, this is being in trouble. So let's go ahead and see what it says. In the center of it all, we have, walking away, this distancing. So let's see what it says about this walking away, this distancing, when it comes to the families. Again, emotionally, he walks away from the families. How this is affecting the core people and looking deeper. So it comes to the fact that they're looking deeper into his distancing, into his, just blasé, doesn't care about it. Like he said, just have $2. You don't need $30, and these $2 are going to be more expensive. Okay? So people are again beginning to feel this isolation and looking at it, the way that he just walks away. So we come in again with this harsh, the truth, the absolute truth of what's taking place, the rulership of truth when it comes to the families and his just distancing, walking away, not caring how it affects the families across the U.S. When it comes to holding on to the assets, When it comes to controlling, they're looking deeper at this, controlling the assets. And it's about his dark government, and it's about maybe looking at doing something higher. Also, the way he's walked away from assistance in the world. Now, we know that Bill Gates has kind of stepped up to help with that. The truth of the assets and what we need to do with them. So above it, they're looking at the next move, how to go forward when it comes to families, etc. The choices being made in life, maybe reassessing some of the choices that they're making in life, and the strength. The strength of spirituality versus the dark government he's trying to implement. Okay? So one side of it, we have the burden of this when it comes to the long term. The burden of people feeling just push back on the edge. When it comes to, nothing coming in. Okay? And again, when it comes to the harvest, disappointment of the harvest, the strength of him walking away from spirituality, and creating this dark government. The pain that this is causing people when it comes to this lack of harvest. The endings, okay? Ending, wanting to end. There's an agreement when it comes to ending this, that the truth is raining down on what he's building, what he's, birthing. And they are going to continue to put in actions, messages about actions, and controlling the power, controlling the action when it comes to what's being spoken about, what's being put out there. The truth, message of truth of spirituality versus his lies and his spin. So more confrontation of saying that this needs to end. We are in an agreement. This needs to end because this is causing too much pain and heartbreak for everyone. And, the truth is raining down on his delusion. Okay? They want to charge forward. Got another one. Charge forward because they've got the evidence that this is a dark concern, so they will continue to speak out about the monetary and a message about the truth and about the losses, and saying this needs to be tempered. It needs to come into some balance because the wheel is turning on your rulership and democracy across the world. So this is causing him, as we have seen, because of his actions, because of his caustic way, this has affected the world. Now we see that in Canada and other places in the world, they are rejecting the far right because of Trumpenstein and his actions and his delusion, and they see just how devastating it can be. So because of his actions, they are making changes, and this has brought about good, positive things in the way that they're rejecting the far right now, because they see the far right just, again, when they really start implementing it, the Project 2025, the far right agendas, just how devastating it is. So in one way, it is making some positive changes in the world already. They see just how caustic and dark it is, and they are rejecting it. But we are still in the midst of this, and they're telling Trump in no uncertain terms now that you are affecting us and you are affecting the world's economy, and this is devastating, and, this needs to end. They're starting to tell him in no uncertain terms, this needs to end. So on that note, I'll leave that here. We'll see you online.